Hey guys, welcome back to our tutorials of Python Graphical User Interface Application Development. In this tutorial, we're going to go through how to make our template interface using Qt Designer by Fman. I like Qt Designer a lot because you can put in your buttons, whatever you want to put, and it'll automatically take care of the code. So it really saves a lot of time. We're going to start by making our layout for template. So just to remind you what template looks like, I have it up here. So this is what template looks like. We're going to replicate this same exact thing. So the first thing we're going to do is put in a label. Okay, so actually before that, let's get rid of this guy. So we don't need this menu bar. So come here. Let's do remove menu bar. Cool. Okay. Now let's start by putting in a label. Okay, you can put it wherever you want, honestly. Even if you want to put it here, the layout's going to be fixed after. So in text label, let's write something like type edit your letter below. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I know in our template we have all this other text giving you an example and then explaining what's going to happen, but I just want to keep this tutorial as simple as possible while still giving you the same application of template, but we don't need to include all this text. Obviously, if you know how to write this, then you'll know how to write the rest. So I'm just going to write the starter text. So type edit your letter below. Okay, so that's the first thing we have. So we've taken care of the text. What's next? So the next thing we would need is this area where the person can write their text. So for that, we're going to put in, so let's see what this is. This is a letter input, and what type is that? That's a Q plain text edit. Okay, so basically that's just telling me what type of property I've used or type of object. But anyway, so come here, come to your widgets, and remember widgets are the things that you place onto your interface. And let's look, it would be under input widgets, right? Because the person using the application is going to input something, and we're going to take plain text edit. Okay, put that there. Cool, nice. If you want to make it a bit bigger, that's okay. Don't worry too much about sizing right now and where you put it, because we're going to organize it later. Okay, cool. Now what do we have next? On template, we have this button. So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 buttons. So let's put a button. Okay, so the first button we're going to put is the edit button. So let's go here, put a button. Let's actually just put 3 buttons. Okay, cool. And before we get onto the buttons, a good habit is always to name your objects. Okay, so here we have a label. Let's make it a bit more specific, and this is really important because whatever you name it here is going to carry on into your code, and then you're going to have to interact with those same names. So it's best to label it specific so that you know what you're dealing with in the code. So let's call this header label. Okay, cool. So that lets us know it's the header label. This says plain text edit. Let's change that to letter input. Okay, cool. And then we have buttons here. Okay, so the first button, we're going to edit the text. I'm going to call it edit. Okay, you can just keep it there, and then change the name here as well. Edit button. It's always good to not just write edit, but also include the widget name itself. So edit button, because you can get confused and wonder, am I dealing with a button? Am I dealing with a label? Am I dealing with a text input box? What am I dealing with? So it's good to put in the widget name right after your specific name as well. So edit button lets us know we're dealing with the edit button. And here we're going to call this save. Okay, and then let's rename it here, save button. Nicely done. Okay, and then we have here generate. Okay, so let's call this generate button. Let's see if we spelled that right. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's look back at this again. So we have 3 buttons. We have the text input. We have the label header, and then here we have this pop-down menu. Okay, so let's see what type that is. That's a Q combo box. Okay, so let me show you what that is. So come back to the widgets. So this would be under, I think it would be under input widgets. Let's see. Yeah, input widgets, right? Because it's something that the user is inputting. So of course, if you can't find something and you know the name of it, you can just search here, combo box, okay? Or if you want text, okay? So let's go under, where are we going? We're going to input and we're going to combo box. Okay, so that's right here, combo box. So what is a combo box? Combo box is basically those, menu scrollable boxes that you use often. So this is the actual application. So this is the combo box. So this is what it does. It's just a pop down menu. Okay. So we're going to come back here and we have the combo box. Cool. That's good. And then what else do we have? We have this space for people to write whatever they want. So we need an area for people to write. So that's also going to be under input widgets, and that's going to be a line edit. Okay, so bring that here, line edit, and cool, we have our line edits. And remember, again, make sure you name your widgets in a specific informative manner. So let's come to the combo box. This is going to hold our variables, right? If you remember, come back here, template, right? It holds the variable names. So what can we call it? We can call it variable combo box. Variable combo box. Okay, and then this is going to be the edit. And what are we going to edit here? If you remember, we put in the variables. So let's call that the variable line edit. Variable line edit. Nice. Okay. So we're actually moving pretty fast, right? We've finished the text here. We finished the plain text edit box. And then we have our 3 buttons. And then we have, and also for the buttons, we have the labels. And then we have the combo box here. So we have that. Cool. And then you have our line edit. Okay. So now it's just a matter of organizing them in an appropriate manner. So the other things you'll notice is there's colors for the buttons, and there's a color for the screen itself, and colors for the fonts. So we're not going to get into that because those are more specific details, and I'll cover those specific details in a later video. But this tutorial is just for you to be able to go from start to finish and understand really how to make an application. It's not really for the details such as colors and fonts. Those things are much more easier to do. So let's do something. Let's actually change the font because I've showed you how to do that before. So let's go to the label. And remember, when you want to change a feature, you go to the property editor, right? Here's where we edit the properties. So let's go down to font, right? Come here, and I like to use, I guess it's pronounced Avenir. I think Avenir. I think Avenir next is nice. Cool. Yeah, and let's make it bigger. Let's make it 15. No, that's 25. Let's make it 15. Okay, looks nice. Okay, cool. And perfect. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how to do the colors and stuff. That's for a later video, and it will just take more time away from the main idea, which is to understand how to make the application, code it, and then release it online. Okay, so let's press Command R. This is what we get. See, so now we can type. This is what our application look when you click on it. Nothing happens, but they get highlighted. If you click on this, nothing happens because there's nothing. It's not filled with anything. And if you type here, you get that. Okay, but the application will look like this. So if I was to deploy this right now, this is what it would look like on someone else's computer. So there's a couple things that are missing here. First of all, it's really unorganized, right? It looks nothing like this. And the second thing is nothing happens when you press buttons. Okay, so the simplest thing you could do is right click just anywhere on the background, right click, go to layout, and layout vertically. Okay, that will lay out everything in a stack. Let me make these smaller. Okay, so that already looks much more organized. So you have the line edit here. So let me make this Command R. So you have here, then you have the line edit, then you have the variable names. Okay, so this is perfect, and this is important because see, when you lay it out in a proper manner, Qt Designer will take care of things when you minimize them and maximize them. So see, when I'm making this window smaller, it's automatically adjusting the button sizes. Okay, and that's because we've laid them out. But let's say we didn't lay them out. Let's break this layout. So if you right click, so let's Let me get rid of that. Okay, so if you right click, layout, and break layout, and now you do Command R, watch this. All those buttons are gone. They didn't follow. So we want the buttons to follow along when we minimize. So that's why it's very important for you to lay them out. So layout vertically. Let's do it again, Control Command R. Look, all the buttons follow, okay? The window doesn't actually, it doesn't like go over the buttons when you minimize or make them smaller, make the window smaller. Close this. Okay, so, but the thing is, this still isn't so aesthetically pleasing, right? And it kind of doesn't make sense, right? The interface has to be intuitive. It has to be easy for the user to interact with. So let's go back to template, right? If you see template, edit, save, and you have this combo box and you have the variable name right beside it. If I go to employer, I can select Google. If I go to skill one, I can select presenting. That's much more intuitive than having the line edit above and then the variable name below. Okay, so for this, we have to make some modifications. So let's go back to layout. Let's break the layout. Okay, so when we come back to template, we want the combo box and the line edit to be in a horizontal row. So for that, you can come back to our widgets. In our widgets, we have something called layouts. Okay, so you can use a horizontal layout, and what that will do is it's an area, and any widgets inside this will follow a horizontal layout. So it's like a stack, right? So this is going to be a horizontal stack, and you have a vertical stack here, you have a grid stack, so or a grid layout, sorry. So here we're going to have a horizontal stack. So we put the combo box here, cool. And now let's put the line edit, and make sure you put it on the right side, and make sure when you're coming, the right side highlights blue, because when it highlights blue, that means it's going to go on the right side, right? If you want to put on the left side, make sure the left side highlights blue. Okay, so come here, it highlights blue, put on the right. Look at that. So that's now a horizontal stack. Okay, so now if we do layout, why am I not able to layout vertically? Oh, I am. Okay, cool. So layout vertically, look at that, it's in a stack now, it's much more organized. And in our layout, we had the variables and the variable name under these two buttons. So let's put it under, okay? So to do that, we gotta select the horizontal stack, right? You don't select this and move it. You have to select the horizontal stack. So sometimes it's difficult to highlight it because the buttons are so close. So if you ever have trouble, just go to your object inspector and click on your horizontal layout. Okay, so now you can move this under edit, under save. Perfect. Right now, press Command R. Let's have a look. You have your combo box, you have whatever here, and then you have your edit button, save button, generate button. So that's really good. So we're on to a great start. And really, this is enough, right? So if we make this smaller. So this is really enough for the application to work. Something I'm going to do here is actually go here and go to our size policy, and we're going to make our horizontal policy expanding. Okay, so what that will do is it makes the two sizes equal. Okay, and I'm not exactly sure how each option works, so usually I have to play around with them. I'm sure there's documentation on it, but I usually have to play around with it until I get the right fit. So you press Command R, and now you have a nice look. You have half of it the combo box and half of it the line edit. Okay, and finally we want to change the title. Okay, we don't want it to be called main window. So if you want to change the name of the window, you're gonna come down here. Let's see, where is this? Window title. Okay, window title. So you're gonna come to window title, double click this, and then call it what are we gonna call it? Template. Cool. See, now that's changed. Nice, very nice. Template. So this should have been done a lot more sooner, but always remember to save your work. So I've saved it here as a template.ui. And another thing we should always do is make sure that all your widgets are correctly labeled, right? Just make sure that the objects match the right widgets. This will save you a big headache in terms of the coding. It's very hard for you to identify why your code isn't working if the problem is over here. So it's just a good checkpoint. So before going to the Python code, let's just make sure our objects match up. So, but we can do that by going through each widget. So let's click on this, and the title should be label header or something like that. Header label, cool. So that's right. Okay, cool. Now let's go to the next one. And this is letter input, nice. Okay, that's just a Q plain text edit, cool. We'll go to our edit button, nice. Our save button. Okay, so see here, there's a mistake. So our save button is saved as generate button. So I wonder what our generate button is saved as. Oh, okay, so our generate button isn't even saved. So what must have happened is I must have made the generate button and then changed the save button's name as generate button. So okay, no problem. So come to the save button. We see here, let's rename it to save button. And let's go again in order. Let's just keep going in order. So let's see this guy, variable combo box. Make sure it's variable combo box. Yeah, variable combo box, cool. Then let's see this guy, variable line edit, nice. And this one we're gonna have to change it, right? So it hasn't been changed. That's the original name of it. So let's change to generate button. Okay, cool. So next we have this status bar. So this status bar is actually this thing right here. So let me show you. So if you remove it, you see that thing's gone. So this is the status bar that's below here. For my example for template, I had actually used a label. So we're going to just stick to that example and use a label, but you can also use the status bar. But for this example, we're just going to use a label, which is going to act like our status bar. So let's drag a label. And so this is the beauty of a stack or our vertical layout. It's just going to format it automatically for us. And let's just write status and make that our default. So status, and we want this to be in the middle. So let's go here to our properties, right? We want to edit a property. It should be under alignments, right? So we'll go under text and then alignment, and we want it align horizontal center. Cool, that's in the middle. And then don't forget, give your label a specific name. So we're going to call this status label. Okay. And again, save, Command S, Control S. And finally, again, when we're about to leave Qt Designer and enter our Python code, again, do another check, make sure everything matches. So this is header label, nice, okay. This is our letter input, nice. This edit button, good. Save button, good. Variable combo box, good. Variable line edit, good. And that's all within a horizontal layout. So we don't have to rename the horizontal layout. And then this is in generate button, cool. This is our status label, nice. Okay, so save it again. And now we're ready to go onto the Python code.